I'm Julie of Jaybird Quilts and Lazy Girl Designs, and welcome back to the Slicker Tote Sew Along. It's time to go ahead and make our handles. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric and 2 pieces of stiff stuff. And you're going to begin with your fabric wrong side up, and stiff stuff doesn't have a right or a wrong side. And you're going to align the stiff stuff so that it is halfway down the piece, just like this. And you're going to center it along the length. I'm just showing you where height-wise it's going to be. And then you're going to head over to your machine and sew 1 line of stitching. This stitching is more of a basting stitch than anything else, so it doesn't need to be exactly precise, but I sewed kind of in the middle of the 2, and so now I have a piece of fabric attached to my stiff stuff, which is going to give the structure to my handle. So now once you have this, we're going to go ahead and wrap it forward and give it a good finger press along the length, and then wrap it 1 more time. And what you'll notice you have left is shorter than the width of your handle. So you're going to fold that over as well, and then get your iron out to press to create a crease. I'm going to go ahead and press, and if you're finding that it's unrolling, you can press at each stage of the folding process. Now that it's pressed, we need to go ahead and tuck this last piece in. So we're simply going to lift the handle up and tuck that in. And you can use your sew tights to hold all of your layers together here. So to get them apart, they have magnets are attached to the plastic piece, and then there is a metal piece. You slide them. If you try and stick your finger in and pry them, it's really, really difficult. The idea is slide. So slide them like this, take them apart, tuck that extra piece of fabric in, stick your sew tight, and stick this in the back, and continue down the length of the piece. And then we're going to head on over to the machine to sew our handle together. I'm over at my machine so that I can top stitch my handle. I am using thread that will coordinate with my fabric, and I have set my stitch length to 3.0. I suggest using a walking foot for all of the construction of this bag. Sewing through the stiff stuff and the multiple layers will just be much easier with a walking foot. I have my handle here with my sew tights, and one thing to keep in mind is, depending on your machine, you probably have a metal plate here, and it may be different size, and these will attract potentially to that metal plate. So I use these to hold everything in place, and I remove them just as I'm getting close to the machine so that they don't possibly get in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew 1 line here to start. This is my open edge, and then I'm going to sew a matching one on the other side just so aesthetically it looks good, and then 1 more in the middle. I'm going to slide my sew tights off of my first one and just go ahead and begin. And I'm about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, so close to the edge without being too close. And I'm going to stop with my needle down so nothing shifts. Go ahead, take off my next sew tight. And so I'm going to stop just at the end here, sew along the edge of the handle, and sew down the length of the other side. And the last thing I'm going to do with stitching is I'm going to sew right down the middle. So I'm just going to line my presser foot up right in the center of my strip and sew down the center of my handle. Now I'm going to repeat with my other handle, and if you don't have sew tights, Wonder Clips can work for this stage of the process. They don't work in all of the steps, so pay careful attention to your pattern and to what I say, but they will work for this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my other handle as well. Now that I have my handle stitched, it's time to go ahead and trim them to length. Your stiff stuff and your fabric might not be the exact same length as each other, and that's okay. There is a range listed in the pattern. Generally speaking, if I plan on carrying the bag at my side with my arm straight down, I prefer a shorter length handle so that the bag doesn't get too close to the ground. If I plan on carrying the bag on my shoulder, I like to have a little bit longer of a length. So I'm just going to go over to my mat and trim these to both be the exact same length. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. If you have any questions, you can ask them here in the comments, as well as in our Facebook community group. I'll be back here soon to go over assembling the bag.